What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. Listen, I was going to do this as a live review for the season finale of Power. Child, let me get the title. Power Book 3, Season 3, Raising Kanan, Episode 10. Whew. Okay. Sasha Penn, I still want you to put me in your right and wrong, but baby, I was here for this finale. Now y'all still left me with a lot of questions that I need answering, but I had some suggestions. And listen, just call me. I was gonna do this as a live review, but Soul Firm Entertainment, you guys know TSF. Y'all, I'll put the link in the video so you guys can find us more easily. We will be doing our live review tonight because, you know, tomorrow's a Super Bowl. We normally go on Sundays, but we're going to do it tonight. And I don't want to just repeat myself. So join me over there. I may stream it from my other channel. I'm going to talk to the people over there. But let's talk about some things. First of all, this was a great finale. Definitely kept us guessing. Definitely with some unexpected twists. And let's get into it. So we start this episode off with Lou at rehab. Now that is what I predicted. I did not believe, there was nothing in me that believed they were going to off Lou. Not at all. They definitely, I think that they were going to absolutely do everything in their power before it got to that point. And taking him to rehab and getting him out of the city was definitely at the top of my list of what they were going to do with him. We see that the therapist asked for Rock to come in. He's been there for 2 weeks, so they let us know that there's a 2-week time jump from when they took him to rehab to where we are now. And the therapist is really digging into Rock, and I love it. I love how the therapist was throwing stuff out there, and Rock was she was getting more and more defensive. And then finally she was like, I don't feel nothing. I mean, I just do what I gotta do. I don't put, I deal with it. When I make my decisions, I own my decisions. I don't blame other people. And she was very defensive. She was rocked. And the therapist was like, anger is an emotion. And you seem very angry. I ain't angry. But it wasn't until the therapist said to her, listen, you're here because I asked him, who is the person that you care most about in this world? Who do you want me to bring in here to talk to? And he told her it was Rock, the therapist, Rock. And when she heard that, you could like visibly see her soften up. And they had a real moment. They honestly, truly had a real moment. They were crying. And she said, listen, I love you. Like, I was the first person to hold you. You were always, you my baby brother. And the two of them had a moment. And and she actually apologized. She ended up apologizing for a lot of, the things she said to him, a lot of the things that she maneuvered and did, and I think that's all he need. Listen, I feel like that's all he needed from her was the acknowledgement and the apology. Like, I'm acknowledging that I did something to you. Because here's the reality about things. You can't undo anything. And that's why I never understand when people say the apology isn't for the other person, the apology is for you. I don't understand that. Maybe I'm not evolved enough in my thought process to understand that concept. But no, if somebody does something to me, I need the apology. But I need it to be a sincere apology. And the best apology, of course, is changed behavior. But I don't understand that the apology ain't for you thing. Yeah, the hell it is. And I think that's what Lou needed. Lou, because Rock can't undo anything she did to him. But I think the acknowledgement that she did it, the sincerity in which she apologized, I think that means something. And I think it meant something to Lou. And later on, we see Lou talking to the therapist, and Lou basically saying, now I have to figure out a way to live with, like, I know I can't put those decisions on other people. And now I have to figure out a way to live with the decisions that I made. And again, I think that's valid. I think it's a valid way to say, okay, she apologized for what she did and how she maneuvered me. But now I have to acknowledge that I still made those decisions of my own free will. Like, I could have said no. I could have walked away, and I didn't. We'll get back to Lou later. Now, Marvin is down to the fume for Gerald. Which we figured that's where Marvin was when we saw the pictures of Marvin in the cemetery. Now he didn't actually go down to the funeral. He stood back, and here come the damn FBI task force walking up on him, giving him that old, "That's your fault. You're the reason why he's in that grave. You did it to him. You and your organization." And Marvin was like, "Bruh, what the hell you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean. I don't know how I got in this." And I 120% agree with Marvin on this one. Like, why y'all rolling up on that man? Like, I know why they doing it. But can I say something? And I was having this conversation a little earlier today. This task force has got to be the Barney Miller of the task force down to the FBI. I'm not understanding how you then connected Detective Howard to Famous. You done connected Marvin to the mob. You even connected Lou to Marvin. But ain't nobody say nothing about Kanan and Rock. Nobody connected Detective Howard to Kanan. Burke had a whole file. She pulled his personnel file. She found the DNA request. Y'all didn't do that? Y'all suspect this man of being this criminal cop. Y'all ain't pulled this man. Like, I mean, we'll get to that. But I'm just not understanding how they didn't connect the obvious dots. We literally saw somebody, we assumed it was the FBI, following Rock for 2 whole episodes. How do y'all not connect Rock? Y'all brought her in for questioning. How did her name never come up in this whole final episode, the last 2 episodes, where the task force is cracking down and figuring it out, but Rock's name never came out of nobody's mouth in the whole 2 episodes? Anyway. So we head on over to Kanan. He getting it in with Crystal. She trying to make him her boyfriend. You know, we found out that the group is probably not going to go any further than where it is. And she said, you know, you said you wanted to keep things on the down low because of the group, because of Rock. And now that the group is probably going to be over, you know, so you my man now? And Kanan was like, listen, we kicking it. Like, that's all I got for you is that we kicking it. I can't give you more than that. And she was like, I'm late. Look, that's the oldest trick in the book. The oldest trick in the book. I don't a bit more believe Crystal is pregnant than the man in the moon. I need to see the pregnancy results test with your name on it. I don't want to see no stick that somebody peed on. I want to see that you. Matter of fact, let me go with you to the doctor. I really feel like that's a plot and a ploy to try to get Kanan locked up. I mean, you know, not locked up, but locked up with her. Now, what I don't understand is she said, well, you told us we needed to keep it on the low because of the group. I don't understand what you mean keep it on the low. Like, y'all was literally kissing and slobbing each other down in front of the studio where they rehearsed. How was that keeping it on the low? I'm confused. I don't know. Anyway. So then we see Juke and Aisha at the park. We find out that Juke has basically ghosted everybody after what happened. She was probably embarrassed, trying to figure things out. And Aisha was like, girl, you know, you went down there with the police. We didn't know what was up. We didn't know what was going on. And Juke was like, look, that's just the police hassling me and my family. But it just made me really realize that I'm never going to get from up under my family as long as I'm here. And so, you know, it just made me, you know, figure some things out. Now, we see Aisha kiss, you know, she kissed Juke. Juke was like, yo, what's up with that? She said, I never thought you really had any interest in me. And Aisha was like, listen, I ain't saying I'm attracted to all girls, but I'm attracted to you. And part of the reason why, you know, I was probably trying to flirt with Kanan is because it was making me nervous. I didn't understand those feelings. I really didn't understand what that was about. So Juke was like, okay, I can dig it. You know, she said, so what about us? And Juke was like, hell, I didn't know there was an us until 5 minutes ago. So you're going to have to give me a minute to process. But they end up going out to lunch, and Juke breaks everything down for her, lets her know, look, I'm going to the military, you know, I just got to get away from here. And, you know, she was like, well, I'll wait for you. And Juke was like, yeah, no, you're not. And I wouldn't want you to. But the fact that you even offered to wait for me, that means a lot. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, I try not to be one of those people that wants to directly connect everything from here to the original Power when we met Jukebox and everything she had going on. I really try not to do that because I don't think that when they were doing the original Power, they had this prequel in mind. So everything they're doing now is sort of backwards writing, and everything is not going to directly connect. Like, it's not going to be a direct connection. But with that being said, I just wonder where if Aisha and Juke ever met back up. I wonder where this ends up going. I find it interesting how this is going with Jukebox, because does that mean that Jukebox doesn't come back next season? Retro brought up something to say that it might be interesting for us to see her experiences in the military and see how things go for her in the military. Um, and I'm gonna be honest with you, for next season, if it's going to be a substantial storyline that is going to explain some things that will help us understand the Jukebox we met in the original Power, I'm fine with that. If it's just going to be a bunch of basic training, oh, she got hazed, she, had to fight the girl. Like, if it's just gonna be a bunch of just scenes just for the sake of them showing us Jukebox, I'm not interested in that. But if it's gonna be a real storyline that's gonna keep her connected to the family somehow, and that's gonna show us the continuing evolution of Jukebox, I'm here for that. Okay. Oh Lord. So we see where what's happened next? Oh no. Detective Howard gets hemmed up. We see Detective Howard having to meet with Baptiste and with the task force dude, and he has his union rep with him. That's never a good thing when they tell you to bring your union rep. It's never a good thing. I used to be somebody's union rep. I used to be a union rep for the teachers union, and it was never a good thing when a principal would call us and say, y'all, we so and so and such and such, and y'all need to bring one of y'all need to come down here and sit in this meeting with us. That's never a good conversation, okay? Basically, they're letting Howard know that they have started connecting the dots. Now, Howard did a good job of talking his way out of the whole Burke thing, but it was too many other dangling pieces that didn't look good for him, So the Burke thing didn't look good, but then they found out that, and what's funny is they still never got to the point where I feel like they out loud suspected him of doing anything to Burke. But they definitely know that he pushed Burke and that he pushed IAD in Burke's direction. But they made a connection between him and Marvin Thomas. Then they made the connection between him and Lou, because they found out that he put the word out that he was looking for Lou. And once again, I'm back to what I said a few minutes ago. You made the connection between him and Marvin. You made the connection between him and Lou, but you didn't make the connection between him and Rock. And knowing that Rock used to be his CI back in the day, and the fact that those are her brothers, and like nobody, again, maybe somebody might say, well, they didn't want to tip their whole hand. Well, at that point, they was tipping the whole damn deck. They didn't have nothing to lose by letting Howard know what they had, because they're trying to get the information and they're trying to flip him, right? So why not say, and what's up with Raquel Thomas? She used to be your CI. How far does this go back? When did you start? How long have you been in bed with the Thomas family? We know that, like, I'm not understanding how that doesn't come up at all in this whole conversation. Lou, Marvin, no Rock. And somebody was following Rock and taking pictures. So I'm confusion. So anyway, they tell him he has 24 hours to basically tell them what they need to know, or they're going to arrest him. Now, the question is, what would they arrest him for? I figure right now it would just be obstruction of justice until they can put more ducks in a row. Because at this point, they have a lot of suspicion, but they really don't have a lot of hard evidence. But they have enough for obstruction. I think they do. Okay. I'm no attorney, but that's the only thing I can think of at this point. And he is a cop, so the burden is a little different. But anyway, neither here nor there. Marvin goes to meet with the lawyer to find out what the FBI really has on him. And the lawyer says, listen, your name really ain't came up. Like, I'm not even sure why they even harassing you, because your name ain't came up. He says, do you want me to jungle the trees and see what happens? And he's like, yeah, jingle the trees a little bit. So while this is going on, Rock is out doing her thing, driving through the hood, and some people roll up on her, and there's a shooting, right? she's able to, she sees them pulling out their guns in enough time to get away, but of course they shot up the car, and they were actually following her until they got hit in the in the crosswalk, or, the intersection. They actually got hit. So, because honestly, they would have followed her, I feel like. So, next thing you know, we see Famous running up on the apartment. Listen, Famous, Kanan's not your friend. He ran up there to find out about Rock. We see Crystal in the apartment crying, which tells me that they're having Kanan is having the I don't want to be with you, and if you're pregnant, get rid of it conversation. That's what that read to me. But he's like, what are you doing here? And Famous was like, you didn't hear, like, they shot up your mom, but, I was just, they said she got away, but I was just checking to see what's going on with you. And then his immediate response is Ronnie. He was like, Ronnie, that crazy mother effer, right? Now, as I'm rewatching this whole situation, I'm wondering, at what point did the setup start? And y'all know, if you watched the episode, you know what I'm talking about. At what point did the setup start? Was Ronnie really moving independently? Because I really feel like that wasn't a play. They was really trying to get Rock. Like, for real, for real. So at what point does this become a play from Kanan? We'll get to that part. The FBI go and visit Lou at the rehab to try to find out what he knows or doesn't know about Detective Howard and everything else. And Lou was like, listen, I don't know nothing. I don't know no Detective Howard. I don't rock with the police. Why are you asking me these questions? And then he was just like, he said, well, he put the word out to come to scoop you up if they found you. And Lou was like, well, nobody ever found me. I don't know what you're talking about. So then they're going to ask him, how can he afford, this is a very expensive rehab. And Lou was like, you trying to say I can't afford it? He said, well, normally, addicts don't normally have money like this. He said, well, I drink cheap liquor, But of course, Lou ain't going to give nobody nothing. Why would Lou give anybody something? That's crazy as hell. So Marvin goes over to Rock's house to let Rock know, basically, listen, it was Ronnie. And, Rock was like, I knew that. Like, you ain't had to tell me it was Ronnie. And he said, they talk about the fact that Pops and Snaps are running with Ronnie. And so Marvin is like, what? Pops and Snaps? Now, again, this is where I'm talking about Sasha Penn. This is what I'm saying. We need a prequel. We need a Snaps and Pops prequel to the prequel. I know that at this point it will be a prequel to the prequel, but we really need it. Like, because I feel like there's a lot of conversations, there's a lot of stuff that we're not getting as viewers. Do we need it for the actual storyline right now? Not necessarily, but I want to know. Maybe I'm just nosy. But there is clearly a history, a past between Pops, Snaps, and Rock and Marv and the Thomas family. They are clearly avoiding the Thomas family, or they're avoiding each other for whatever reason. They know they know of each other's works, but they don't rock with each other. So Rock tells Marvin, we need to resolve this without any more bloodshed. Like, first of all, Kanan is too close to it. If we start a war, Kanan might get hit. And second of all, I just think she don't want to go to war with Pop and Snaps. Because, again, I think there's more to it than what we know. Because let's be clear, Rock didn't have no problem going toe-to-toe with the damn mob, knowing she was outnumbered. Like, she didn't have no issue with that. So the fact that she's treading lightly with Pops and Snaps, I do think part of it is Kanan, but I think more of it is not Kanan. Now, here's where I'm thinking the play starts. Ronnie is talking to Pops and Snap. And they're basically telling him, listen, if you gonna swing, you better hit. Like, Rock isn't the kind of person that you take a swing at unless you gonna do it. So the fact that y'all shot at her, but she ain't gone, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna come back and bust you in the head. Ronnie was like, listen, I wasn't the one shooting. I guess as if to say, if I was the one shooting, it would have been a done deal. Well, while all this is going on, here come Kanan rolling up in there. Now, here's why I feel like some of this is a play, because Ronnie got two bodyguards that were literally sitting at the table, saw Kanan roll up in there, clearly pissed off about something, and ain't nobody jump. Nobody moved. Nobody picked up a weapon. Nobody tried to roll up on Kanan. Nothing. He was able to get right into Ronnie's face, and like, I was confusion by that. Because I was like, so last week when Ronnie rolled up in there, everybody was strapped. Snaps had a gun under the table. His bodyguards behind him had weapons. Like, and so I feel like maybe this is where the play started. I don't know. Because basically Kanan is telling Ronnie, like, listen, you know, I told you not to take a shot at my mom. Ronnie was like, whatever, I told you it had to be done. And he was like, I told you to stay away from my family. And Ronnie was like, you don't know me. And Kanan was like, you don't know me either. And I said, he got a whole lot of bass in his voice. I mean, the one thing I'll say is that Kanan got some heart now. Kanan ain't no punk. I'm just saying. So then Marvin goes to talk to Pops and Snaps. And Marvin lets them know that they really trying to resolve the situation without any bloodshed. And they basically told him, look, we can appreciate that, but life is what life is sometimes. And, you know, tread lightly, brother, tread lightly. And again, Marvin tried to play it cool, and Pops and Snaps played it cool, but nobody really gave up anything. Nobody really said, okay, let's come to the table. Okay, let's resolve it. Both of them was just kind of like, you know, on guard. And now, you know, but Marvin let it be known that they really don't want to go to war. Now, while this is happening, Famous is on the phone talking to the record producer, letting the record producer know that, you know, Lou is out of town, you know, but he's down for it, and when he come back, it'll be ready, it'll be a go. Well, we find out that Famous must know that Lou is in rehab, because he said, you know, Lou picked a bad time to become a drunk or something to that effect. So I feel like he must know he's in rehab. Next thing you know, the police come busting up in Famous's house, and the first thing I think of is, oh no, he's got that gun in his room, because we saw him put the gun up. That's the first thing I thought of. I said, Lord, they came in there with a search warrant to get the gun. Well, come to find out, his mama done took the gun to the police. Girl, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't understand. Like, I didn't understand his mother's thought process at all. You suspected that your child did something wrong. You find a gun in your child's home, and your thought is, I'm going to take this gun to the police. But then you sitting there shocked when the police roll up in your house because they found out that the gun was connected to a crime. I'm so confused. There's no way in hell I would have done that. Now, would I have maybe gotten rid of the weapon? Maybe. Would I have talked to him and said, look, I done found this gun. You told me you was into some ish. I'm your mama. Tell me what's going on so I can help you the best way I know how to help you. But taking the gun to the police would have never been an option for me. Call me what you want. Judge somebody else. Don't judge me. But I would have never took that gun to the popo. Never. Now, if they came in there and found it, but I'm not taking it. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? Anyway. So while this is going on, Detective Howard done rolled up on Rock, and he done told Rock, listen, they're coming for us. The jig is up. We got to get in Marvin. And Rock was like, first of all, they coming for you. I didn't hear you say, they didn't say my name. They said your name. And second of all, I already told you Marvin is not an option. Now, what Detective Howard is saying makes sense, because again, Marvin is the only name that they are saying. However, Rock ain't gonna give up her brother, and she didn't already told you she ain't gonna give up her brother. So the more you keep bringing that up, the more you keep making her feel like she gotta get rid of you. Like, you kind of forced Rock into a corner, because she done already told you she not getting rid of Marvin. So what y'all should have been doing is talking about another conversation, another way of handling it. And if you was going to give up Marvin, you should have just called your union rep and said, listen, I got a story to tell you. You tell me how the best way we can spend this so I don't go to jail. Because you already not going to be a cop no more. That's a wrap. But how can I spend this so my ass don't go to jail? How can I keep my pension? That is the conversation you should have been having at that point, because Rock has been clear what she ain't going to do. So now we see Juke and Kanan And Juke is telling Kanan that she going to the, to the army. And Kanan is letting her know, wow, I can't believe you're going to do that. Like, I ain't never leaving Jamaica. Like, Queens, isn't that what it is, Jamaica, Queens? Anyway, he said, I'm going to die on these streets. Like, this is it. I'm never leaving. Now, while they're having this conversation, Ronnie's truck rolls up on Kanan and kidnaps him. They leave Juke. They don't shoot her. They just hold the gun on her so she don't try nothing. Kanan gets in the van. And he was like, I know it's Ronnie. I know it's Ronnie. Again, I feel like this was a setup because, number one, he was clear to say Ronnie's name. Knowing good and damn well Jukebox was going to run back and tell Rock and her dad not only what happened, but who it was. So he gave Juke all the information Juke needed in order for Rock to make her next move. Now, do I think that Kanan had always made the decision on how it was going to end? I don't know. But I definitely feel like this was a setup. Because here's what I think. I think that the compromise was, okay, we're not going to unalive my mom. We're going to put her out of business. We're going to cripple her to the point where she can't get back in the game. So I'm going to take her connect. I'm going to take her work. And I'm going to take enough money that she can't rebuild. Or at least no time soon. That is what I think the conversation was. Maybe not to Ronnie, but to Pops and Snaps. And that's why I think Kanan was so pissed off that Ronnie made a move, because he said, this is not what we talked about. You see what I'm saying? Kanan said, this is not what we talked about. So I feel like the conversation was the kidnapping setup, but Ronnie pulled an audible and decided that I don't want to do all of that. I'm just gonna get rid of Rock. I ain't got time for all that. I'm gonna do this. That's how I think. So the police got Famous hemmed up, and we found out about that his mama turned the weapon in and all of that. And then they want to know his connection to Detective Howard. He asked for a lawyer, and of course the police did what the police do. You don't need a lawyer. We can help you out. And then when they brought up Detective Howard, and they brought up, did they bring up Lulu? They brought up Detective Howard. That's when he was like, it looked like he was getting ready to like start talking. And then he was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna need my lawyer. So good for you, Famous. Good for you. I just hope he holds out long enough because I feel like if Rock find out what's going on, either Rock is going to get him a real attorney, or Rock is going to find a way to get to him so he can't say nothing. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. So, while Rock and Detective Howard are arguing over what they're going to do and how they're going to resolve the issue and how they're going to get out of this clean and throw Marvin to the wolves while the three of them walk off into the sunset, Marvin and Juke roll up and let them know about the kidnapping. And at this point, now Detective Howard want to play Captain Saberhold, that's my son and I'm in it, kind of situation. You ain't, like, then all of a sudden he was like, whatever's going on, I'm in it. I'm going. I'm a part of it. So they go to Pops and Snaps, and Pops and Snaps let them know, look, we ain't got nothing to do with it. However, if you want your son back, it's going to cost you your work, it's going to cost you your connect, and it's going to cost you $500,000. So Rock was like, the one thing I love is that Rock didn't flinch when he said $500,000. However, Marvin was like, you got that kind of money? She was like, I ain't liquid like that, but I know where I can get it. So Rock goes down to the Italians, and she gets the money. She puts up pretty much everything she has as the collateral, and she gets the money for Kanan. Now, while all of this is going on, Lulu is contemplating unaliving himself. He can't go through with it. Yada, yada, yada. Moving on. I'm over Lou and this whole situation with Lou. So, mind you, Detective Howard is with them this whole way, right? And again, I have to go back to Pops and Snaps when Detective Howard is there and they're like, so what's up with the police? Like, you rolling with the police now? But again, y'all don't remember Detective Howard being undercover back in the day? Because that's how this whole thing started, was he was undercover drug dealer, whatever, and Rock was his CI. Y'all don't recognize him? Y'all don't know him? I'm confused. I'm so confused. Anyway, Lord, this thing almost 30 minutes. We almost done, though. We almost done. So, Rock, Detective Howard roll up to go make the exchange. So they get there, and Ronnie, you know, they had a little exchange back and forth. Child, I don't care. Ronnie says, you know, Rock, it ain't have to be like this. You took my connect. You took my woman. And then Rock, you know, she gives him the money. She said, now give me my son. And Ronnie was like, I can't give you what ain't mine. And Kanan was like, yeah, that's right, Ma. This was all the setup. You've been played. So, of course, Juke is sitting there like, not Juke, shit. Rock is like, wait a minute, what? Like, I got set up? Like, are you serious right now? Like, this was a play? And I really feel like it was an unwritten conversation that her and Kanan had. Because it didn't look like... It honestly didn't look like... It looked like they were talking with their eyes, to be honest with you. So, when Ronnie gets down to count the money, Kanan starts walking up on Ronnie. And I knew in that moment what Kanan was getting ready to do. So, while Rock is thinking this whole thing was a setup, but I think in the back of her mind, when she saw Kanan walking up on Ronnie and then Kanan reached behind him, she knew what was up. Because let me tell you why she knew what was up. Because she didn't advance to do nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like, everybody had their weapons out, but she didn't advance to do nothing. If you thought your son was getting ready to pull out a weapon to come at you, at that point, son or no son, it's fight or flight. But she ain't do nothing. Well, next thing you know, Kanan done shot Ronnie in the head. And Rock was shocked a little bit. But then, there was, Ronnie had two of his henchmen in there. So Detective Howard is standing there. And Rock know in that moment what she got to do. He can't be alive. Like, because, of course, now he's like, whoa, what did you just do, Kanan? You just did what? So she ends up shooting Detective Howard. So Detective Howard is out. Ronnie is out. Marvin comes up in there and he takes care of the two henchmen. And Marvin is like, what the hell done happened? Like, we got to go. Like, whoa, we got to get up out of here. Rock looks at Kanan and said, you coming with us. Now, Kanan reluctantly does it. She picks up the money and she rolls out. So thank goodness she got the money, because now she can get Italians back they shit and she don't owe them nothing. Whew. And then we see this figure walking in the warehouse with some beat up old Timbs on. And as the camera continues to pan up, the minute they showed the person walking with the Timbs, I knew who it was. I knew exactly who it was. As soon as they showed them Timbs, I said, Pan up. Unique. Now, Unique fucked up. His eye, this side of his eye messed up. He got stitches going across his forehead. Now, he fucked up. But he alive. So, in conclusion, I was wrong. Ronnie ain't Breeze. Well, I had kind of figured that out like 2 episodes ago. I just ain't say nothing. But I definitely was like, okay, no, Ronnie ain't Breeze. Well, I saw where they were going with Ronnie's character. I said, Ronnie ain't gonna make it out of this season. I saw where that was going. Once he started having friction with Pops and Snaps, I said, yeah, this is about to be a wrap. I kind of suspected that Unique was not dead. I suspected that Unique wasn't dead where Pranisha kept taking her ass over to that house. And I was like, why does she keep going over there? And I felt like, and she stopped yelling about Unique. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but that's when I felt like, wait a minute. And the fact that his body never turned up. And I get it. They threw him in the dump. I get it. But I don't know. But I had suspicions that Unique was still among us. And a part of me think Rock knows. A part of me thinks that Rock knows. Now, how long was Unique following these people? How long was Unique keeping an eye on the moves and the comings and the goings of his brother? Because I'm sure he was following Ronnie. But how long was he doing this? That he was right there in the warehouse when this whole thing went down. Anyway, y'all, that is the end of season 3 of Raising Kanan. We are definitely here for season 4, and I will talk to y'all later.